Our son asked why Mom lied about where she was last night. That sentence didn't feel like a question. It felt like the first domino falling. Saturday mornings in our house used to be sacred. Warmth, routines, the smell of cinnamon rolls. Rachel in her oversized sweater, hair still damp from the shower, padding barefoot across the tile floor. Sam watching cartoons while nibbling toast, and me reading the paper with my second cup of coffee. We'd done this every weekend for years. It was one of those rituals that made life feel safe, predictable, whole. But this Saturday morning didn't feel like the others. Sam had said it so casually, like he was asking when his soccer practice started. Why did Mom say she was at Aunt Lily's? But Aunt Lily called and said she hasn't seen her in weeks. Rachel froze for half a second, just enough for me to notice. She recovered quickly, too quickly. What? That's silly, she said, laughing lightly. She walked over and ruffled Sam's hair like nothing was wrong. She must have meant she hasn't seen me in person. We've texted. I was over there the other night. Sam blinked, shrugged, and went back to his cartoons. 9-year-olds are wonderfully trusting, but I wasn't. Rachel turned to pour herself some coffee, but her hand trembled slightly as she gripped the mug. I noticed everything now. The first thing I felt wasn't anger. It was nausea. That kind of quiet, internal shift where your body knows something is wrong before your brain does. Because I remembered Thursday night. She'd said she was staying over at Lily's to help her with something. A remodel project, she said. Something about old photo albums and wine. She didn't come home until nearly 1 a.m. She said they lost track of time. I had believed her. But Lily called yesterday on speaker. I remembered it clearly. Rachel was in the other room. Sam answered because he was closest. I was cleaning up the kitchen. Tell Rachel to call me, Lily had said. I miss her. It's been forever. She wasn't lying. Her voice had that casual cheerfulness that people have when they're genuinely unaware they've just dropped a grenade. The moment passed and I played along. I asked nothing else. But inside, something had begun unraveling. Rachel left for yoga that afternoon. Same as always, but I didn't go back to the paper. I sat in silence for a long time, staring at the wall above the fireplace. Then I went to the drawer where she kept our shared calendar. The one we used less and less since she got her new job. I flipped through the pages. Thursday night, blank. She always used to jot down things, even casual ones. I'd seen her write down dinner with Lily before, but this time there was nothing. I went into the laundry room, checked the hamper. The clothes she'd worn Thursday night weren't there. Not in the bedroom hamper either. I looked in the closet. Not hanging. I opened the top drawer of her dresser. Nothing unusual. Then the second. She kept perfume samples there. Lip balms. Small things. But then I saw it. A receipt. Crumpled. From a hotel downtown. 2 nights ago. I picked it up. Room 1627. The Marriott on 8th. The checkout was for 12:03 a.m. Friday morning. Less than an hour before she came home. Smelling of wine. Cheeks flushed. Saying she and Lily had talked all night. That was the moment the nausea became something else. A quiet rage. The kind that burns slow and cold. I put the receipt back exactly how I found it. When Rachel came home from yoga, I watched her. Closely. Her ponytail was loose. Her cheeks red. But not from exertion. More like nerves. She smiled at me, asked if I wanted to do Chinese for dinner. Sure, I said. How was yoga? Good. Hard class today. Lots of core work. Cool. Did Lily go? She blinked. No, she's out of town. Visiting her sister. Out of town. Of town. I nodded slowly and smiled back. Ah, weird. She tilted her head. What is? Nothing. Just thought I saw her car near the park. Must have been someone else. I could see it. The micro-expression. The flicker of panic that she tried to bury. Maybe it was last week, I added. I lose track sometimes. She laughed. Too hard. We all do. We ate Chinese. Sam talked about school. Rachel pretended nothing was wrong. I mirrored her perfectly. We were a happy family again. Except now the cracks were forming, and I was watching them all. That night, I waited until she was asleep. Then I got up, went into the living room, and sat in the dark. I opened my laptop. I pulled up our cell phone bill. I don't know what I was hoping to find. I just knew that I couldn't sleep until I looked. There were dozens of calls to a number I didn't recognize. Mostly in the afternoons. Mostly short. But Thursday night, there were 4 calls. 2 outgoing. 2 incoming. One at 11:47 p.m. The other at 12:06 a.m. The last one was 2 minutes before she walked in our door. I Googled the number. It wasn't registered to a business. Or Lily. Or anyone I knew. But the area code was local. Copied it down. My hand was shaking slightly as I wrote. Then I clicked open Facebook. Typed it in the search bar. Nothing. Instagram. Nothing. Then, without knowing why, I searched my wife's name. Scrolled through posts. She hadn't posted anything in days. But someone else had. A man I didn't know had tagged her in a blurry group photo. The caption said, "Thirsty Thursday with these beauties." There were 5 people in the picture. Rachel was second from the left. Smiling. Wearing the same earrings she had on Friday morning. The man had his arm around her waist. I clicked his profile. Public. His most recent post? A selfie in a hotel room. Room 1627. I stared at the screen for a long time. My heartbeat in my ears. The room was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Rachel stirred in the bedroom. I listened to her move under the covers, and for the first time in our marriage, I felt like a stranger in my own life. I closed the laptop and just sat there, staring into the dark, wondering how deep this hole went. She said she called Lily, but she didn't know Lily was already talking to me. Sunday mornings used to be quiet. They used to be gentle. That day, the silence had weight to it. Rachel was still asleep when I walked downstairs. Sam was already up, lying on the couch in his favorite dinosaur pajamas, a half-empty cereal box resting on his chest. He looked peaceful, like the world hadn't cracked open around him yet. I made coffee without thinking. My hands moved on their own, like they were following an old script while my mind was trying to rewrite the entire story. My wife was lying, not just bending the truth, not just forgetting details, lying. I sat beside Sam on the couch and said nothing for a few minutes. Just listened to the cartoon voices bounce around the room. Then I turned to him. "Hey, bud, can I ask you something about what you said yesterday?" He paused the show, looked up at me with those big, honest eyes. "Yeah. You remember what Aunt Lily said on the phone?" He nodded, thinking. "She said to tell Mom to call her, that it's been forever. Then she asked if I still liked raptors. That sealed it. There was no room for misinterpretation. Lily hadn't seen or heard from Rachel in a long time, which meant Thursday night was a lie. Just like the hotel receipt. Just like the group photo with the man whose arm was around my wife's waist. Rachel came downstairs about half an hour later. Her robe tied loosely, her hair in a bun. She looked like a picture of domestic normalcy, and that made me feel sick. "Morning," she said, pouring herself a mug of coffee. "Did I miss pancakes?" "Didn't make any," I replied. "Wasn't really hungry." She sipped, then looked at me over the rim. "You okay?" "Yeah, just tired." We didn't talk much during breakfast. She kept glancing at her phone like she was waiting for something, or someone. After we ate, she said she wanted to take a walk. "Clear her head," she said. I nodded, didn't stop her, watched her grab her jacket and disappear out the door. The moment it closed, I grabbed my laptop. I needed to know who he was. The man from room 1627. His name was Andrew Maddox. I found him through the tagged photo. His profile was public. Financial consultant. 34. Lived in the city. He had over 1,000 friends and a highlight reel of shallow accomplishments. Sailing, golfing, living my best life, he wrote. He looked like someone who always landed on his feet. One post from 2 weeks ago had Rachel's comment beneath it, a single flame emoji. Another from last month had her name in the likes. The day she told me she was too sick to go to work. She wasn't sick. She was with him. I opened our phone bill again and matched the unknown number to Andrew's contact info. It was him. Every call, every late-night ring, every mysterious silence when I walked into the room and Rachel quickly pocketed her phone. I clicked through his Instagram stories. One caught my eye. Boston conference. Rachel had gone to Boston 2 months ago. Said it was a week-long work event. Early mornings, long evenings, panel discussions. She said she hated it. Boring hotel rooms. Bad food. But there she was, in the corner of his story video, laughing, drink in hand, wearing the black dress I never saw again. So it wasn't just one lie. It wasn't one night, one mistake. It was a pattern, a second life. I shut the laptop when I heard her footsteps coming up the porch. She walked in, cheeks flushed from the cold. "You guys want to do a movie night tonight?" I looked at her for a beat too long. Then I nodded. "Sure, Sam would like that." She smiled, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. That evening, we sat on the couch with popcorn and a Pixar film. Rachel on one end, Sam between us. He was laughing. She was scrolling her phone. And I was planning. Because now I knew. Now it was real. The woman I loved wasn't who I thought she was. And the life we built wasn't what I believed it to be. The only question left was, what would I do with the truth? I found her second phone hidden in the drawer beneath our wedding photos. It was Monday afternoon when I found it. The house was quiet. Rachel had taken Sam to his piano lesson, and I was supposed to be working from home. But instead of answering emails, I was tearing through our bedroom like a man searching for a ghost. I'd started with the closet, then the bathroom cabinets, then the hallway drawers. Every place that used to feel familiar now felt suspicious, like I was combing through someone else's life. And in a way, I was. When I opened the bottom drawer of the old wooden chest, the one we never really used, I expected to find dust and maybe some spare batteries. Instead, I found a black velvet pouch, small, like the kind that holds earrings or a bracelet. Inside it, a phone. Slim, black, unfamiliar. It had no case, no lock screen, and no fingerprint. It opened instantly. There were no apps beyond the basics, but there were texts, dozens, all from one number, Andrew. The last message was from that morning. "Miss you already. Wish you could have stayed last night. Can't stop thinking about your mouth." My mouth went dry. My hands turned ice cold. I scrolled upward and it got worse. Pictures. Selfies of them in restaurants, in hotel mirrors, one of them in bed. Her shoulder bare, hair messy. A smile I hadn't seen on her face in months. My wife was living another life. One filled with heat and laughter and secrets. And she had hidden it inches away from our wedding album. The irony crushed me. That drawer held photos of our vows. Our first dance. The moment Sam was born. All beside this black mirror into a parallel world. I didn't cry. I thought I would. But there was only stillness. I took photos of the messages. Every one. Every image. I forwarded the entire thread to my email. Then placed the phone back in the pouch carefully, exactly as I found it. She couldn't know yet. Not until I was ready. That night, I watched her more closely than ever. She was all warmth and affection. She made spaghetti, asked me about my day. She even kissed me on the cheek when I handed her a glass of wine. Was she trying harder because she felt guilty? Or did she genuinely believe she could keep the lie alive? She put Sam to bed, humming the lullaby she'd always sung. And then, when the house was quiet, she pulled out her phone, her main phone, and typed a message with her back turned to me. I watched her shoulders relax when the message was sent. Then she slid her phone under the couch cushion. She never used to do that. "Tired?" I asked. She nodded. "Long day." We went to bed in silence. I could feel her beside me, her breathing soft, her skin warm under the blanket. She reached for my hand, and I let her take it, because I needed her to believe everything was still okay. But inside me, something had cracked open, a slow flood of ice. I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a witness, and I was watching everything. She smiled at me across the dinner table, not knowing I had read every filthy word she wrote him. Tuesday evening felt like theater. Rachel cooked salmon with lemon butter, lit a candle, even opened a bottle of wine we were saving for our anniversary. She looked radiant, happy. If I didn't know better, I would have thought we were in love again. But I did know better. Every smile, every laugh, every tender glance. It was performance. I watched her like an actor watching another actor in a scene, matching lines, timing cues, but behind my smile was something else entirely. I had read the texts again that morning. Every message between her and Andrew, not just the raunchy ones. The worst were the romantic ones. The way she told him she missed him during family vacations. The way she sent him a photo of Sam's drawing and said, "He's starting to look more like you." That one nearly broke me. It wasn't true. Sam was mine. I knew that. But the suggestion, the audacity, the intimacy of that joke. It was like watching someone carve my name off the front door and write another man's in chalk. So I sat across from her, nodding as she talked about her new project at work. Her manager was a nightmare, she said. Too demanding. Andrew apparently didn't exist in this part of her life. "You know," I said, swirling wine in my glass, "I've been thinking we should take a weekend trip, just the two of us." Her eyes lit up. "Really? That sounds amazing. Where to?" "Maybe the mountains, or the lake house." She smiled. "I'd love that. We haven't done something just us in forever." "Yeah," I said. "We really haven't." We toasted. Glasses clinked. After dinner, Sam came down to show us a drawing he'd made. It was our family, 3 stick figures holding hands under a big yellow sun. Rachel hugged him, told him it was beautiful. I told him it was perfect. But as I tucked him in later, I couldn't stop thinking about how close we'd come to losing that simple innocence. How Rachel had risked all of it. She walked into the bedroom after brushing her teeth and said, "That trip idea made me really happy. Thank you." "You deserve it," I replied. "You've been working so hard." She kissed me, softly, sweetly, and I kissed her back. And as I did, I remembered the message she'd sent Andrew 2 nights ago. "I hate sleeping beside him now. All I can think about is you." I pulled away slowly and said, "We should book it soon, before work gets in the way." She nodded. "I'll look at my schedule." "Actually," I added, "I was thinking I'd plan it, a surprise." She tilted her head. "You? Planning a trip? Now I'm curious." "You'll love it. Promise." She smiled, curled against me under the covers. I held her until she drifted off, and then I got up, walked to the office, turned on the lamp, opened a blank document, and started writing a letter. Not to her, to Andrew. I didn't send him threats, I sent him silence, and he responded with fear. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to confront. I needed him to feel watched. The email was simple. No subject, no greeting, just a single line. Room 1627, Marriott, Thursday. I know. Sent from a throwaway account from a VPN at 3:12 a.m. I waited. The next morning, I went through the motions like always. Coffee, toast, Sam off to school, Rachel in the shower. She kissed me goodbye, wet hair pressed to my cheek, and left like everything was normal. It wasn't. By 11:30 a.m., he responded. His email came in short bursts, like panic had spilled into keystrokes. "Who is this? What do you want? Please, let's talk." I didn't answer. I wanted the silence to bloom inside him, to turn his confidence to static. He thought he could sneak around behind my back. Thought my son could call another man uncle without me knowing. Thought I was weak, predictable, convenient. By 2 p.m., another email. I didn't know she was married, I swear. That was a lie. I saw the texts, the photos. He knew. He liked it. By 3, his Instagram was locked. Facebook scrubbed. LinkedIn wiped. A digital disappearing act. He was scared, and I was calm. Rachel came home that night with takeout and a bottle of wine. "You okay?" she asked. "You seem distracted." "Just work," I said. and kissed her forehead. Thinking too much, we watched a movie, something stupid and loud. She curled against me, laughing at all the right places. I nodded along, but I wasn't really there. I was watching her phone screen reflected in the glass of the TV. I saw the name A pop up in her texts. She didn't open it. She just stared at the notification. Then she silenced her phone and placed it upside down. "Do you ever think people can change?" I asked suddenly. She blinked. "What do you mean? Like, do people ever come back from lying? From hurting someone they say they love?" She hesitated. "I think they can. If they really want to. If they're sorry. Even if they're not caught yet?" Her lips parted. She looked at me like she was trying to read what I already knew. "Why are you asking this?" "Just curious." She nodded slowly, looked down at her lap. "Everyone has secrets." "Yeah," I said. "They do." We sat in silence after that. The credits rolled. The room got darker. Later that night, I went to her phone. I didn't need the password. I had watched her type it in a dozen times. There was a new message from Andrew. "He knows. I think your husband knows." And her reply, "Stop messaging me. We can't talk right now." Right now. Not at all. Not ever again. Just not right now. I turned off the screen. My reflection stared back at me from the black glass. This wasn't the end. It was just the part where she started to realize I was no longer blind. She cried when she thought I was asleep, but not for me. That night was the first time I heard her break. It was past midnight. Rain tapped against the window like it was trying to warn me, like it wanted to pull me from this house, this bed, this lie. Rachel lay beside me, her back turned, breathing slow and even. But then her shoulders twitched. Once, then again. I stayed still, eyes shut, listening. A muffled sob slipped through her clenched teeth. Not loud, not dramatic, but real. I opened my eyes and watched the ceiling. I didn't say anything. I didn't turn to comfort her. I just let it unfold. Let her think I was still asleep. She whispered something I couldn't make out. Then again, barely audible, "I'm so sorry. It wasn't for me. It was for him." The guilt wasn't about what she had done. It was about what she was afraid of losing. I felt something in me calcify, harden. The next morning, I got up before her, made coffee, sat in the kitchen watching the rain smear the glass. She came in an hour later, eyes puffy, wearing my hoodie. It used to feel intimate, her in my clothes. Now it felt like theft. "Rough night?" I asked casually. She blinked. "I guess. Just couldn't sleep." "Nightmares?" "No. Just thoughts." I nodded. "I get those too." She looked like she wanted to say more, but she didn't. Instead, she changed the subject. Talked about needing to go to the store, about planning a dinner with friends, about Sam's school project. All of it noise. She left the house just after noon. I waited 10 minutes, then grabbed her second phone. Another message had come in, from a new number, but I knew it was him. "Please talk to me. Just tell me if he found out." She hadn't responded. I powered it off, slid it back into the drawer. It was time to move things forward. That afternoon, I picked Sam up from school. Just us. We got milkshakes, talked about his dinosaur book. He was happy, blissfully unaware. And while he slurped chocolate from a paper straw, I looked at him and realized I needed to protect him from more than heartbreak. I needed to protect him from learning what betrayal looks like too young. That evening, I sat beside Rachel on the porch. The storm had passed, leaving everything wet and shining. She held her tea like it was the only thing grounding her. "Do you still love me?" she asked out of nowhere. I didn't flinch. "Why would you ask that?" "I don't know. You've been distant lately." "Have I? Or have you just started noticing?" She didn't answer. "Rachel," I said quietly, "if there was something you needed to tell me, would you?" She swallowed hard. "Yes," but her voice cracked on it. And I knew even then she wouldn't confess. She was waiting to see how much I knew. She lied to my face, holding my hand, while wearing the necklace he gave her. Friday night was supposed to be our date night, a tradition we started before Sam was even born. Every first Friday of the month, without fail. Dinner, maybe a movie, sometimes just takeout and talking. But this one was different. Rachel dressed up more than usual, hair curled, makeup perfect, and around her neck, something new. A delicate silver chain with a tiny sapphire pendant. "You like it?" she asked, twirling it between her fingers. "It's beautiful," I said. "It was a gift," she added, then quickly corrected. "From a client. We closed a big deal last week." I nodded, took her hand, kissed her cheek, and hated every second of it. Because 2 nights ago, I had seen a picture of that exact necklace, still in its box, resting on Andrew's chest, captioned, "She said yes to dinner, not marriage. Still a win." I had scrolled through his lockdown Instagram using a dummy account. New handle, new identity. He didn't recognize me. She wore that necklace like it was nothing, like she hadn't crossed into a place we couldn't come back from. At the restaurant, she laughed, told stories, reached across the table to touch my hand. She even teared up when talking about Sam's upcoming school recital. "You're quiet tonight," she said. "Just soaking you in," I replied. And in a way, I was soaking in this version of her, the curated version, the one that knew exactly how to play the part. "You ever think about who we used to be?" I asked later over dessert. She smiled. "All the time." Would that version of us survive today? Her fork paused halfway to her mouth. "What do you mean?" "Just, we've changed, haven't we?" She put the fork down. "I don't know. Maybe. But that's what marriage is, right? Adapting. Forgiving. Forgiving. Even if one of us makes a mistake." I asked. "Depends on the mistake," she said. "What if it's a big one?" She looked at me then, long measured. "Are you trying to tell me something?" "No," I said. "Are you?" She shook her head slowly, smiled again. "You're acting weird." "Maybe I am." We drove home in silence. Her hand stayed in her lap. She didn't reach for mine again. Later, after Sam went to bed, I stood outside on the porch with a glass of whiskey. She joined me a few minutes later. "It was a good night," she said softly. "Yeah." She looked up at the stars. "You know, I really do love you." I turned toward her, watched her silhouette in the moonlight. The necklace caught a glint of silver. "Do you?" I asked. She didn't answer, just leaned against my shoulder like nothing was broken. But everything was. She found the envelope before I was ready to leave, and for the first time, she looked truly afraid. I hadn't planned on her finding it that morning. It was supposed to be later, after I dropped Sam at school, after I returned for my bags. But she woke up early. I heard her feet on the stairs while I was still in the garage, loading the last suitcase into the trunk. When I came back inside, she was standing in the kitchen, barefoot, holding the cream envelope I had tucked under her coffee mug. Her hands were shaking. "What is this?" she asked. Her voice wasn't angry. It was small, frightened. I closed the door behind me, took a breath. "It's everything I know." She opened the flap and pulled out what I had printed. Screenshots of messages, photos, hotel receipts, the image of her necklace resting on his chest, a copy of the email I sent Andrew, the call logs, even a map of her GPS locations over the past 2 months. She didn't flip through all of it, just stared at the top page. "You went through my phone," she whispered. "I did more than that." I opened my eyes. Silence. The refrigerator hummed. Somewhere outside, a dog barked. "How long?" I asked. She didn't answer. "How long, Rachel?" "Months," she said finally. "It started in Boston. I didn't mean for it to happen. But it did. And then it kept happening." She sat down slowly, like her knees might give out. "You were distant. I felt alone." He listened. I laughed once, bitter. "You felt alone. So you invited someone into our life without telling me? Into our story?" She looked up at me, eyes wet. "I didn't love him. I was confused. I still love you." "No," I said. "You love the idea of me. The man who picks up Sam from school. The man who pays the mortgage. The one you know will never scream, or hit, or leave dishes in the sink. She covered her mouth. I stayed. I continued. Because I needed to know the truth. And now I do. Where are you going? Somewhere else. I haven't figured it out yet. What about Sam? He stays with me, for now, until we decide how to explain this without breaking him. She started crying, quiet sobs that she tried to stifle with her fist. You don't have to leave, she whispered. I do, because the moment I stopped trusting you, I stopped being your husband, and you stopped being my home. She stood up, walked toward me, reached out. I stepped back, and something in her face finally cracked. Not guilt, fear, because she realized the performance was over. Sam didn't ask where his mom was. He just asked why I looked like I'd been crying. We drove for hours. I didn't have a destination, just direction. North, where the coast gets quieter and the towns feel less like places people cheat in. Sam sat in the back seat, headphones on, humming along to some song I couldn't hear. I caught him looking at me in the rearview mirror a few times. Curious, concerned, but he didn't say much. It wasn't until we stopped at a gas station for snacks that he spoke. Dad. Yeah, buddy. You okay? You look sad. I crouched beside him by the candy rack. His eyes were big and brown like Rachel's. Too much like hers. I'm just tired, but I'm okay. He hesitated, then asked the question I had been waiting for. Where's Mom? I paused, chose every word like it might be permanent. She's staying at home for a little while. I needed some space, just for a few days. Did you fight? I nodded slowly. Yeah, grown-up stuff. But I promise you're safe, and you're loved. Nothing about that changes. He didn't look satisfied, but he accepted it. He picked out sour gummy worms and a root beer. I bought a black coffee I didn't want. We drove another hour to a rental cabin I found the night before. It was small, wooden, tucked near a pine forest. 2 bedrooms. No Wi-Fi, just quiet. That night, after I got him to sleep, I sat outside under the stars and let myself feel everything. The betrayal, the grief, the strange relief. Because in some dark way, it felt good to be alone in the truth. No more pretending, no more wondering. Just me, the night, and the crackling sound of trees swaying like old men whispering. My phone buzzed on the porch table. Rachel. I let it ring. She called again. Then a message. Please, just tell me if Sam's okay. I'm going crazy. I stared at the screen. Typed, deleted, typed again. Then finally sent. He's safe. We need space. I'll be in touch. 3 dots. Then nothing. For the first time since I found out, I slept deeply. She tried to come see us, and I realized I didn't want her to. It was Wednesday when I got the message. Not a call. Not a voicemail. Picture. Rachel and Sam. Last Halloween. He was a velociraptor. She was dressed as a safari guide. They were laughing, crouched on our front porch, surrounded by pumpkins and flickering candles. Underneath, a single line, I miss us. I didn't reply. We'd been in the cabin for 4 days. For quiet, slow, healing days. I taught Sam how to skip stones in the creek. We made grilled cheese on a pan that always smoked. He started sleeping through the night again. I'd been thinking about that photo. Not the one she sent, the one I hadn't printed yet. The one I took of her phone. Of her smiling in a hotel bed, bare-shouldered and wild-eyed, with Andrew's reflection in the mirror behind her. That image had burned into me, but not in anger anymore, in clarity, because I didn't miss us. I missed the version of us that existed in my memory, not the one she destroyed. That afternoon, I walked through the woods while Sam napped. I thought about calling her, not to yell, not to accuse, just to ask, why didn't you stop? But I already knew the answer, because she liked it, because it made her feel alive, because she thought I'd never find out. That night, as the fire crackled low, Sam asked me if we'd be going home soon. Not yet, bud. We're having an adventure, remember? He nodded, smiled, and went back to drawing on the cabin floor. Then came the knock. 3 soft taps on the wooden door. I froze, opened it slowly. She was standing there. Rachel, hair pulled back, eyes swollen, no makeup, no mask. "I had to see you," she said. I didn't let her in. Not yet. Sam looked up from his drawing. "Mom!" He ran to her, and she knelt, hugged him hard, kissed the top of his head. He looked back at me. "Can she stay?" Rachel looked at me too, silently begging. I nodded once. For a little while, she stayed outside, on the porch, while I made tea. Sam went to bed early, tired from hiking. The house felt full again, but not in a good way. She finally spoke. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I needed to see that you're okay." "I am. You took my whole world with you." "No," I said. "You left it behind when you picked someone else." She nodded, tears falling silently. "I don't love him," she said. "I never did. But you betrayed me with him. That's the part that matters." She reached into her bag, pulled out the necklace, placed it on the railing. "I don't want it." "I never wanted any of it," I replied. "I just wanted the truth." Silence. The forest hummed. The wind sighed. "Will you ever come back?" she asked. I looked at her, really looked. "No, not to you. Maybe to the house, for Sam, but not to what we were." She sobbed once, covered her face. "I'll leave you alone," she whispered. I didn't stop her. She walked back into the dark, and for the first time I didn't want her to stay.